Welcome to the Mighty Mentality Mentor podcast, your weekly 15-minute discussion on the interplay between our mindset, our skill set, and the results we get in life. I'm your host, NLOG. Last time we went over kind of the beginning of what is analysis paralysis. I guess kind of the intro of what is analysis paralysis or performance anxiety. And from there, as I'm kind of saying this, performance anxiety and analysis paralysis aren't exactly the same thing. They do come from the same branch, but nevertheless, I do have to give it its distinction, albeit they do come from the same branch, in my opinion anyway. From there, we had moved into where analysis paralysis comes from, and then we had segued lastly into Csikszentmihalyi's flow diagram, and we had tied that back into analysis paralysis. And then we had eventually summarized everything to, most importantly, being mindful of when analysis paralysis is at play. Simply knowing that it's happening or affecting you gives you a massive edge, and we talked about that. And then finally, as we had kind of gone over Mihai's entire flow diagram, had kind of summarized it into high skill with low challenge equals boredom, and low skill and high challenge equals anxiety, and that this is where analysis paralysis hides. So today we're going to be going over using Skillset to lessen analysis paralysis. Okay. From there, we're going to go over some examples because, in essence, if we're asking how we need to use Skillset to lessen analysis paralysis, we also have to ask the question, how do we know exactly what to change in particular within our skill set? So we're going to go over a little bit of that. And then finally, we're going to close off today's discussion on some examples of where to adjust. Okay, we're going to use some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu along with some piano examples. So let's get right into it, guys. So using your skill set to dampen analysis paralysis, looking at Mihai's flow diagram, again, as a recap to last episode, you can see over here that with a high challenge and a low skill set, that you are in this zone of worry and anxiety, okay? You are in anxiety because the challenge that you have in front of you is just way too high for the skill set that you have to be able to take that particular challenge on. It doesn't have to do with your entire skill set as a whole, but that particular challenge. And so that begs the question, okay? What skill in particular am I changing? Okay. So you can see here that worry and anxiety is that intersection. Okay. So let's dive right into that because, ultimately you can opt not to work on your skill and you can figure out different ways to have the challenge solved. You can deflect it to someone else or simply delegate it and then not take that particular challenge on, not develop that skill. You can still get the job done, okay? Don't forget that the next challenge, though, will likely be a larger one. Okay, just like we spoke about on the 4th episode of the Mighty Mentality Mentor podcast, at around the 16-minute point, we talked about work, no results, but I get a little bit better. And that's what we were talking about. When I was saying that the next wall that you smash through will likely be thicker, what I meant by that is that particular skill set requirement for that next wall is going to be larger. It's going to be harder. It's going to be a little bit more specific. It's going to be a skill set that you will have had to have forged over time. Okay, it's not something that you can just, less is more and kind of, BS your way into getting things done. Okay, But if you do know which skill set to work on, this challenge becomes one that you can solution. Therefore, the analysis paralysis does subside. So you gotta focus on the skill. Okay. Um, Remember, you can pass through the walls. There's different ways. But if you're going to do that on your own and have a sustainable model where you can ensure that the next wall you can pass through on your own, you're going to have to work it to focus on skill. Okay. And then from there, the question begs, if you focus on skill and I'm doing what I need to do, I'm trying to focus on the skills that I need in order to solve this particular challenge. But I don't know, man. I can still feel that analysis paralysis. I can still feel that anxiety. You know, tie it back into the MSR feedback loop, guys. You know the skill set is inadequate, but how? How is that skill set inadequate? You got to find out which skill sets in particular are inadequate. But how do you do that? You know, if you've never done it, then it's a good reason. Okay, it's a great reason. It's completely understandable. Uh, how are you supposed to have confidence in something if you've never done it? Um, I get it. If you've had previous experience, that means that you've had a result that's affecting your mindset right now. Okay, and the last time we talked about results affecting your mindset or your mindset affecting your results. So the interplay between mindset and results. We brought up the shot doctor, and that is the solution in this particular case. You got to move yourself to a zone of lower perceived level of importance to allow yourself that time to practice on the right skill set or the attribute that you're trying to focus in on, so that by the time you get to uh, and we kept calling it the big moment, but it's not really the big moment. It really is just the moment that it's time to perform. Okay, but ultimately, we kind of psych ourselves out sometimes, and it's not healthy. It's not conducive to you being able to perform. Okay, so from there, how do we know exactly what to change in our skill set? And in Herb's video, the main takeaway was not that Herb was noting the number of times he missed a shot, but he was noting where he missed the shot. Okay. And the reason why he does this is because he's able to see the results of the miss and use that to adjust the way that he shoots the ball, or loosely his skill set. Okay. So yes, this is an example of results affecting skill set, micro, but it's more than that. Okay, he's focused on the micro skill sets that exist within the umbrella of the skill set of shooting. Okay, these micro skill sets include shooting to compensate for hitting the front portion of the rim. Okay, so he probably had a low velocity shot, like the ball was coming toward the rim at a lower velocity, so it hit the front of the rim. And number two, he's able to start shooting to compensate for hitting the back of the rim, meaning the ball was coming toward the rim at such a high velocity that it overshot exactly where it needed to go and it hit the back of the rim. Third, he's shooting to compensate for hitting the left portion of the rim. So some fine tuning, some fine tuning method needs to occur in order for him to do that correction. And then also, obviously, the same thing for the right hand side. Okay, so he's got four, what seems like, or at least in the video when we went over it, he's got four, what it sounds like, ways to correct himself. So four, let's call it micro skill sets within the umbrella of the skill set of shooting just as a whole. Okay. And so where he is missing, he's taking that feedback that he's receiving from the result of the miss, and he's fine tuning his skill set in order to have a better result on the next shot. Okay, there's no going to sleep and coming back the next day or none of that. On the next shot, he's already fine tuning. And so that's powerful, guys. Right? Now we get into the good stuff, you guys. I really want to we went over some basketball examples, and as much as basketball is a sport where the vast majority of us have picked up a basketball and shot at a basketball net. You know, it's a nice, common enough sport that many folks have played it and have tried it, and so there's some commonality there. But it's also relatively difficult to really show the dynamic aspects of things because basketball it's really a relatively simple sport. So let's segue into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for this particular one. Okay, so here you can see a video with a legend BJ Penn and Dwayne Ludwig where BJ takes him down. So he's got top position right now. And you can see he's got what's called half guard, where his left leg is over Dwayne's right leg, and it's kind of laced in between there. And he's got Dwayne's right leg in between his. And from there, he's basically just punching him. And what these punches are serving as is they're serving as distractors to allow BJ to advance position. From there, you can see that BJ's about to pass into full mount. There you go. He passes his right leg, passes to full mount. He's just using punches to create some space. Okay, some more punches, some more punches. And really, this is just a war on position. Some more punches to be able to create some more space, create some more openings. Dwayne is keeping real tight here. And the focus right now isn't just on kind of my narration, but focus on the fact that BJ is on top position. Okay, look at this. Okay, so he gets it right there. He's got the gift wrap right there. So he's got Dwayne's left arm secured with his own right arm. He gets there you go. Look at that. He's got his left arm through, and there you go. He gets the arm triangle. Okay, so top position gets you some massive advantages. Okay, massive advantages. So let's note that. Let's move into another fight where, in this particular example, you can see that the individual at the bottom actually gets the upper hand. Okay, so in this particular fight, this is Mark Coleman versus Fedor Emelianenko, both of them legends in the sport. So let's check it out here. So here you can see that the guy on top position is Mark Coleman, and the guy on bottom position is Fedor. Watch it quickly, guys. Pay attention. Watch Coleman's left arm. Okay, there you go. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, it happens so fast. It happens so fast. Okay. From here, it's it's possible. You can win with another individual, or your opponent rather, having top position over you. So this is another skill set that you can forge. The same skill sets that it takes for you to be able to perform the fight in the way that BJ Penn did are different skill sets that you need in order to perform the fight in the way that Fedor did. Okay, so this is huge. We gotta be mindful of this, because if you're not, then what'll happen is you're inevitably going to start focusing in on depth within a certain realm of one umbrella of a skill set, and you're going to miss out on the breadth of that particular skill set. And that's not good, because if you end up doing that, then what happens is you're not really able to become well-rounded in your approach of whatever skill set you may be looking for. Okay. So from here, you know, it's relatively easy to see that, these two gentlemen here, Mark Coleman and Fedor, they're both large individuals, but they're roughly the same size. Okay, let's take a look at a situation where you can be off your back, but with a larger opponent in top position, and you can still win. So this fight right here is with Fedor and Hongman Choi. Fedor goes in for the takedown, or well, attempt to take him down, of course. Hongman Choi is so big, and you can see here that Fedor is having a tough time. We're going to speed this up all the way to the point here. You can see here that Fedor is having a tough time. He's already got Hongman's right arm in his sights. Okay, look at this. Watch up right there. So this is actually the second time that he had done this in this fight. We had fast forwarded through that, but you can see there that, twice is really all it took. Okay, so right there again, let's focus in on that. You can work on skill sets in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that earn you a dominant position on the top position, and then from there a route to victory. That is one call it micro skill set. You can focus in on a skill set to be dangerous from the bottom position when you are actually on your back, and you can start to forge a route to victory through that means. And there is yet another big difference between Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, wherein you can start to focus in on a skill set, and that's attacking the legs. So let's bring BJ Penn back into the mix here. Unfortunately, in this particular case, my boy BJ Penn is going to end up losing. This is him against Ryan Hall. So let's check this out. So here at the 438 point, you can see that we've got a little bit of pummeling happening here, where really Ryan Hall's game is to take you down and submit you. In this particular fight, even though BJ Penn is known as the prodigy, and at one point in time, I believe, ended up actually getting his black belt in the shortest possible time frame, he actually wants to have this fight standing, and you can see that right now. Right now, he would engage if he wanted to fight Ryan Hall on the ground. And right here, look at this. You can see this right here. Look at that. I believe that is an immeasurable. That heel hook was rough, man. That knee is tough. Look at that. Oh, geez. Yeah. And so that right there is another skill set that you can focus in on, is attacking the legs, the bottom 50% of the human body. Okay. So that right there is just three micro skill set examples that exist within the umbrella of the skill set of Jiu-Jitsu. Okay. Similarly, in piano, mostly your left hand is playing chords or octaves, so it's a little bit less dynamic, and your right hand is mostly playing melodies, so it's a lot more dynamic. You're going to have chords, you're going to have trills, you're going to have single notes, you're going to have all sorts of things in different rhythmic patterns. With your left hand, again, it's mostly chords and octaves. So a lot of times you're really just sticking to the octave, or you're sticking to the main 4/4 beat, let's say. You're sticking to the main 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Maybe 1 and 3 or what have you. But, quarter notes and all of that good stuff, where the dynamicism is that even a word, dynamicism? But where the dynamic aspects of music live, mostly they live in the right hand. Okay, so you can start to focus in on the larger umbrella skill set of the piano, and then through that work start to focus in on the micro skill set of getting better with your left hand to do chords, or maybe play some right hand esque melodies with your left hand. And then you can also work on your right hand and start playing some melodies so that it's more dynamic and really focus in on your technique. So, in summary, the phrase, "if you don't measure it, you don't manage it," is a good quote, but great comes from knowing exactly where to measure within a skill set. So, when working in hours, the minutes matter. When working in minutes, the seconds matter. And when working in seconds, the milliseconds matter. Thanks again for tuning in.